All right, and this is the quick review of scientific notation. So remember, the key is understanding the powers of 10. And so if you look at the full lesson at mymathlite.com, we talked about the powers of 10. And so I look at this number and I see it's 34 million. And I know that the millions place is 10 to the 6th and the tens of millions is 10 to the 7th. So I already know that this is 3.4 times 10 to the 7th. But if you don't have that concept of the powers of 10, you have to figure out how many places the decimal point moves. All right, so remember how to start. You write your significant digits. You put the decimal point after the first digit. You write times 10, and then you figure out the exponent. So the decimal point's not shown, but it's there, and it's moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and sure enough, it is moved 7 places. Okay? So let's take a look at this second example. Remember, when you have a number with the that the numbers to the right of the decimal point, doesn't matter whether it's positive or negative, but the numbers to the right of the decimal point, you're going to have a negative exponent. Okay, so again, if you remember, I taught you the relationship on negative exponents. So if you count the zeros, and that's what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to count the zeros 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just the zeros to the right of the decimal point. You know that the exponent is one more. So there were 5 zeros, so the exponent is going to be negative 6. Again, if you forget that, what's the procedure? Write the significant digits, put the decimal point after the first, write times 10, and figure out how many places the decimal point moved. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and sure enough, 6. And don't forget, when the number's to the right of the decimal point, it's a negative exponent. Okay, well, how about going the other way? Changing from scientific notation back to normal notation. So again, I know 10 to the 5th is 100,000. So I know this number is 987,000. If you don't know that, you're going to have to do it the other way. And so you're going to have to go ahead and write your 9.87. And so 9.87. And now you have to move it 5 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And sure enough, the number is 987,000. 987,000. All right, how about something like 4 times 10 to the negative 4? Well, again, I understand that there's going to be 3 zeros after the decimal place. But if you don't, and you don't remember that, so how do you start? You start with the number. Where's the decimal point right now? Behind it, move it 4 places to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and you get the number. And again, notice that there's 3 zeros after the decimal point, 0.0004, and some teachers prefer you to put a 0 in the front, whatever your teacher prefers. But again, at Mathlite, we'll try to teach you those tips, and you'll get that full information there on mymathlite.com. All right, and then don't forget how to convert into proper scientific notation. And again, the full concept of this is at mymathlite.com on the lesson on scientific notation. But we're going to move the decimal point 2 places to the left, because remember, proper scientific notation is always the first digits between 1 and 9. So if this number got smaller, right, and it did, it went from a 200 to a 2, then this number must get larger. If the number in the front gets larger, then the exponent has to get smaller. And so our number is 2.005 times 10 to the 9th. All right, working with scientific notation.